everybody. Old Man Van here, and I'm really excited. And you know what gets Old Man Van really excited? A couple of things, right? It's getting another PR, because I've been getting a lot of those lately. And you know what the second one is? It's a brand new pair of running shoes. Now today, it's not just one, it's two. So let's take a look. So look what I have here. 2 boxes with the Asics logo on them. So let's open them up real quick. What's in this one? Ooh, something looks kind of green and yellow. Let's open that up. Oh, let's take that junk out of there because that's not fun, right? That's just paperwork. Let's look. Let's do the reveal. Ooh. You know, Old Man Van's getting tingly right now. The all-new Metaspeed Edge Plus. Holy moly. I'm really excited. I never got to try the first Metaspeed Edge, and I've heard this is such a big improvement, so I'm really excited. Look at that bad boy. Whoa, I know that's upside down, but look at that bad boy. Really excited, and you know what? It's got that new midsole rubbery smell to it. You could almost get high on that. I get high on new running shoes, so there you have it. So the Metaspeed Edge Plus. Let's put that one back in there. Okay, what's in that other box? Let's look at that one. Oh, this is so exciting. Open up that box. Oh boy, what is it? Another pair of Asics Metaspeed Edge Plus? Because look, looks like the color's pretty much the same. So let's open it up. Oh, it looks pretty similar. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. It is the new Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus. Holy moly. Now I've got the Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Metaspeed Edge Plus. Okay, full disclosure. Old Man Van went out and purchased both the Metaspeed Edge Plus and the Metaspeed Sky Plus. So I am going to, and let me turn the camera around. So Old Man Van is going to be testing out and comparing both the Metaspeed Edge Plus, recently released, and the Metaspeed Sky Plus, recently released. And you know, if you've been watching my race vlog videos, I've been wearing the Asics Metaspeed Sky version 1 since this past October, I think is when I first started running. I think it was on Halloween. The Middletown, Connecticut Beautiful Run 10K was my first race. And you know what? Every race since has been a PR. Or, if 5Ks, I ran 3 consecutive sub-21 5Ks at the age of 58. So I really love that shoe. So I'm really interested in seeing how the Metaspeed Edge Plus and the Metaspeed Sky Plus stack up to the original Metaspeed Sky. I never tried the Metaspeed Edge version 1. And you know what? I didn't hear great things about that shoe. So the Metaspeed Edge Plus, I've heard, you know, has some improvements that make it a much better shoe for longer races and longer runs than the first version was. And I need to determine if, you know, am I a stride runner and really the Sky Plus is the shoe for me? Or am I more of a cadence runner, in which supposedly the Metaspeed Edge Plus is focused on? So really interested to see how it works. Well, I'm going to take the Metaspeed Edge Plus on a race on Father's Day morning, 2 days from now. It's a 5-miler in Branford, Connecticut, the Branford Road Race. And I'm going to test out the Metaspeed Edge Plus in that road race. And really looking forward to seeing how that works, how different it feels. And if that takes me to another outstanding age 59 performance. So stay tuned for First Impressions review. Stay tuned for a comparison between the two. Stay tuned to hear how they stack up to the original Metaspeed Sky, and stay tuned for another Boston qualifier attempt vlog video.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Old Man Van Running. I've got a confession to make. Old Man Van made a really big mistake a couple of weeks ago on Father's Day at the Branford Road Race here in Connecticut. This is a 5-mile road race. I was really excited about trying out the all-new Metaspeed Edge Plus. And guess what? Got great footage before the race, got great footage at the start line, but during the race, thought I was getting great footage, about a quarter mile from the finish, crowds cheering, all that good stuff, and guess what? I wasn't recording. Really disappointed at the end of the race, really disappointed I didn't get that great race footage to do my next race vlog. However, the Metaspeed Edge Plus really did a great job, and Old Man Van got a sub 35-minute 5-miler. In fact, a 34:38. And that was much better than the goal I had set of just under 35 minutes and a B goal of under 35:30. So really happy about that result and really impressed with how the Metaspeed Edge Plus performed on that day. Today's video is comparing both the Metaspeed Edge Plus and the Metaspeed Sky Plus, the two new updated super duper carbon fiber super shoes from Asics. If you recall, Old Man Van's been setting a pile of PRs in the original Asics Metaspeed Sky. That shoe right here has carried me over 80 miles so far, a number of PRs ever since October, 10K PRs, half marathon PRs, 3 straight half marathon PRs, to be exact, my very first sub 140 half marathon, then my next sub 139 half marathon. So these have been just great shoes, and I was really interested to see how the updated Metaspeed Sky performed. Also, I never got a chance to try the original Asics Metaspeed Edge. And with the improvements that I heard Asics was making, increasing the stack height in both the rear foot and the forefoot, and tweaking the design a little bit, that maybe, just maybe, the Asics Metaspeed Edge Plus might be a better shoe for me than the Sky. Old Man Van went out with his own money, no freebies here, and purchased both the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Asics Metaspeed Edge Plus. The full intent here was A, to determine what type of runner is Old Man Van, and see how these two shoes compared, especially considering they are designed specifically, at least Asics says so, for different types of runners. So as you may know from the original versions, Asics has designed 2 super duper top line carbon fiber racing shoes. You know, from what I heard, since I only tried the original Asics Metaspeed Sky, was that the Edge, the original Edge, was, you know, a little firmer, didn't have as much stack height, you know, was a little harsher, and maybe wasn't a great option for, say, a marathon shoe for somebody who was more of a cadence runner. So what Asics did this year is they went out to improve both the Asics Metaspeed Sky and the Asics Metaspeed Edge. So here they are. Here's the all-new Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Asics Metaspeed Edge Plus. 2 great shoes. I purchased these on my own, as I said, from my favorite online retailer, Roadrunner Sports. But no, I don't get these free from them. I get no compensation whatsoever. They don't even know that I'm doing this. But for me, it works. I buy a lot of shoes, which means I get big discounts, which really helps Old Man Van get shoes and be able to afford it, at least somewhat. So as I mentioned, both of these shoes are designed for different types of runners. I mentioned the Asics Metaspeed Sky, the original one, and the Sky Plus are designed for those stride runners. runners who increase their stride more so than their cadence when they pick up the pace. The Asics Metaspeed Edge, on the other hand, is designed for runners who increase their cadence more so than their stride when they increase the pace. So the million-dollar question is, what type of runner is Old Man Van? Am I a stride runner, Metaspeed Sky Plus, or am I a cadence runner, Metaspeed Edge Plus? Great question, right? And I'm not really certain. So what I've done is I've started looking at my cadence and stride data over the last couple of years. What I'm finding is my cadence and my stride increase as I pick up the pace. My stride just a little bit more so than my cadence, but not that much. So to me, that puts me somewhere in the middle between what these two shoes are designed for. So the best way to figure it out is to buy both of them, try them both out, and see which one I really think works better for me. So what are the major improvements in the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Asics Metaspeed Edge Plus? First of all, in the Sky Plus. Sky Plus right here, you see it looks a little different from the original version, and I'll put that right here. You can see it appears to be more stack height, that Flight Foam Blast Turbo in the forefoot, although the stack height and the heel to toe drop are the same from last year. 39 millimeters in the rear foot, 34 millimeters in the forefoot, for a total heel to toe drop of 5 millimeters. However, as you see here, the forefoot kind of design is a little bit different. It kind of rides up a little higher with that Flight Foam Blast Turbo. The biggest change there is the position of the carbon fiber plate. It rides from up here and it stays just under the footbed throughout the length of the shoe. That's different from last year, where it kind of scooped down a little bit more towards the outsole of the shoe. And the whole idea of that this year is to put more midsole material under the carbon fiber plate. So as a stride runner, when you have that bounding stride, you're compressing that midsole material under the carbon fiber plate to provide more bounce, more rebound. That is the biggest difference, aside from the fact that I believe there's about 4% more of that Flight Foam Blast Turbo in this shoe. As for weight, with all those changes, it's only a 0.2 ounce increase. So 7.2 ounces in a men's size 9 in the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus versus the original Sky Plus, which was 7.0 ounces in a men's size 9. So in the Edge Plus, significantly more changes than last year's original Edge. First thing is they've added 16% more of the Flight Foam Blast Turbo in this midsole. They've done that by increasing the stack height in both the rear foot and the forefoot. The rear foot is now 39 millimeters, just like the Sky Plus, and the forefoot is 31 millimeters for an 8 millimeter heel to toe drop. Now, along with the increased stack height, it has increased the weight a little bit. It's up to 7.4 ounces in a men's size 9, but still, that's very, very light for a top-of-the-line racing shoe. And as I mentioned on the Sky Plus, the positioning of the carbon fiber plate was changed in that shoe so that it runs right underneath the footbed. However, in the Edge Plus, it's different. It's more scooped, and it starts high in the heel, and then it scoops down right down towards the sole of the shoe. The whole idea there is not so much for the carbon fiber plate to provide bounce. It's more to help with stability there and rolling you through the gait cycle. There's more of a rocker that starts further back on the shoe than in the Sky Plus, as you can see here, which kind of has this little, it's much more rocker just closer to the toe. And that's because this is more to compress and bounce versus the Edge Plus, which is more to roll you through to toe off. So really on the Edge Plus, it's about getting more cushioning, making it more of a all distance racing shoe, making it more forgiving, at the same time still being focused on cadence style runners, and giving you that kind of rocker, smooth rolling transition through toe off. So what's identical on both of these shoes, also there have been updates to it, is the upper and the footbed and the heel and ankle collar, the tongue and the lacing. On both of these shoes, it's practically identical. So I'm not going to show you both shoes, right? Here it is. I've got the Sky Plus in my hand. It's got this really nice, again, engineered mesh upper. There's more room this year in the toe box. I'm finding my toes have more room to splay. It's just much more accommodating without being too loose. It's also very form-fitting to your foot. It does have some texture to it on the outside, some little overlays, but it's a single layer engineered mesh with some reinforcements around the toe area, you know, for durability. But I found it's extremely comfortable, even if it feels a little abrasive on the outside. The tongue, again, is nice and flat, right? And that can be a good thing and a bad thing in some shoes. I have problems on the On-Cloud Monster where it's a flat tongue and I'm always exerting way too much pressure on the top of my foot. Whereas on the Brooks Hyperion Tempo, it's great, I love it. I have no problems with it. I also don't have any problems on the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Edge Plus, along with the original Metaspeed Sky. The lacing has changed a little bit. The lacing now, last year it was also flat. There's no stretch to it, which I really, really like. However, they've now added these little ribs to it, which helps the lockdown much better, similar to some of the lacing on the Nike Super shoes. And I really do like it. It feels kind of like sticky, not in a gluey kind of way, but sticky when you're tying it down. It kind of just grabs and stays in place. So I had no problem getting a real good lockdown here. The midfoot feels really good. Again, there's a little more room than last year's model, but I'm still able to get a real nice conforming fit to my midfoot with no problems. Moving on to the ankle and heel collar. Still has a nice, well-padded ankle and heel collar. Obviously not as padded as most of the training shoes you have, but still more padding than a lot of the super shoes. So I like it, it's comfortable, get a real nice lockdown there, feels real comfortable. Sock liner is also very comfortable. No issues there. Plenty of arch support, although it's not overdone. Heel counter. There is a little bit of structure there. Some of the super shoes have practically no structure in the heel counter. The Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Metaspeed Edge Plus do have a little bit of structure there, so that's good. And again, get a really good lockdown in the heel. My foot doesn't slide around at all. I'm able to get it tied down and locked down. I still am able to use the marathon lacing and double knotting with no issues on both of these shoes. Hey, so looking at the outsole on both of these shoes, a little bit of a change from last year in that the shape of the little holes on the forefoot of that outsole material, that outsole rubber, are now oval shaped. You can kind of see it there versus the round shape in the original Sky and the original Edge. I don't know what that does. Maybe it saves a little bit of weight, maybe it cuts out a little more material, but both outsoles are just as grippy as the original versions, and I don't really feel any difference. Now, when we go to the back, one of the issues with the original shoes was that the outsole material, especially on the lateral side, didn't go back far enough. They have extended it slightly. You see there's a little cutout here on the Edge Plus, which is a little different from the Sky Plus, as you can see right there. But they have kind of moved it back a little bit, but you still have this exposed midsole material that I found I'm already starting to wear through a little bit after just 8 miles, and you can see it right here on the Sky Plus. So what does that mean? Hey, you got really good durability on the actual outsole rubber, but you may have a problem if you heel strike a lot and are contacting that midsole material, that exposed midsole material. So at $250, I don't know that I would use this as a regular training shoe. I would save it more for those really important workouts, right? During your marathon training or what have you, or keep it exclusively for races. So what was my experience out on the roads with these two shoes? First, the Edge Plus. I wasn't sure if I was gonna race in it, and I decided maybe a half an hour before race time at the Bradford Road Race to go ahead and race in the Edge Plus. I had run a 3-mile shakeout run in it, and what I noticed was it did feel like it had some inherent stability. I noticed that it kind of rolls you through and has kind of that rocker sensation with a little bit of pop from that midsole material, so that was really good. Felt well cushioned. I felt like I was in control and that I was kind of guiding my feet through, even though there is a little instability here, around your ankle, because it is a little bit narrow there. But I felt really good control with it, really good turnover. I felt it kind of prompted my feet to turn over quicker, but it didn't have the same bounce that I felt in the original Metaspeed Sky. But I went through the race and it felt smooth the entire time. Smooth, controlled. It encouraged me to turn over quicker. and I felt almost effortless picking up the pace in this shoe. And again, it took me to a PR for the 5 mile. Moving on to the Metaspeed Sky Plus. So this shoe I took originally on a 2 mile shakeout run, and the first thing I noticed was the bounce. Significantly more bounce than the Edge Plus. However, it also had a little more instability than the Edge Plus because I felt like I was sitting up a little bit higher on the squishy foam in the forefoot, and there was a little more instability there. That being said, it wasn't such that I felt my ankles were just going to collapse in, but I had to be careful a little bit when I went around corners, that sort of thing, because it is a pretty high stack height. You are sitting on top of that foam versus the plate being down here to lend some inherent stability. But I did find that when I started to pick up the pace, man, that bounce was really, really nice and really energetic. So then I took it on an 8 mile marathon pace run last Sunday, and I found this was really, really fun. Really, really fun, effortless to run at those higher paces. I found that the pace that I was gonna run at, I was able to run faster than that with the same effort. Question I'm gonna have is there enough stability for me as a stability runner if I determine that this is the shoe I wanna wear for once I get up past the half marathon and get up to marathon distance? When my legs start getting tired and my ankles start rolling in more because I do have a bit of pronation, is this gonna create problems for me? I'm hoping not. I thought the original Sky felt a little more stable, and maybe that was the lower positioning of the carbon plate. This just feels a little less stable than that shoe. So where do I stand on the all-new Metaspeed Sky Plus and Metaspeed Edge Plus? I'm gonna tell you, again, I loved the original Sky. I still have it. It's taken me to PR after PR after PR. So I've got nothing but great things to say in that shoe. I haven't raced a marathon in it, but man, it's taken me up to half marathon distance with no problem. These two shoes, very, very different. Both of them so far I like. In fact, I think I'm probably gonna keep both of them because I think, I'm somewhere in the middle, and depending on, how energetic I feel that day, how tired my legs are, one might work better than the other depending on the situation. But if you had to ask me right now, I would say that the Asics Metaspeed Edge is more stable, feels more stable for me, a stability runner. It's not a stability shoe by any means. Whether or not this is stable enough to take me through a marathon with no problems, we shall have to see if that's the shoe I decide to wear. That being said, the Sky Plus is fun, fun, fun. Both of them are blazing fast in a different way. Both of them are enjoyable to run in a different way. I need to run in both of these more to really determine which one works better for me. In the meantime, I think I'm going to keep them both, and maybe one of these will become the shoe that takes me to my Boston Marathon qualifier. So one last thing. At this point, it's one of these two shoes for my Boston Marathon qualifier. But guess what? I heard that Saucony is coming out with the Endorphin Pro 3, which has significantly more stack height and significantly more stability inherent in the shoe. It may, if I try it, turn out to be a better option for Old Man Van to run the Marine Corps Marathon. But I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to pull the trigger and purchase that shoe as soon as it becomes available. If I do, you will get a first impressions video of that shoe, and then it will be war between that shoe and these two shoes for which one is going to finally get Old Man Van to the goal he's been trying to get to since he was 16 years old. Final thoughts, ratings. So, I usually give ratings. It's always like a 9, a 9.25, a 9.5. You know what? I love both these shoes right now. They're both great. If you had to ask me, yeah, 9.5, because I think they're just top of the line carbon fiber super duper racing shoes. If one works better for me than the other, I'm not going to take points off that because they're designed for two different types of runners. Hey, whether it works for me or not, they're just great shoes. They fit well, they lock down well, they've got enough cushioning, they're easy enough on the legs. If there's only one thing I would take off for these shoes at all, it's that they're not all that stable, although they work for me even though I'm a stability runner, I'm able to wear them. I would like to see a little bit more structure here, you know, maybe a little bit wider base, and I think you could still keep the weight down to make them a little more stable, but they are stable enough for me up through a half marathon with no problem. Big question is whether I can get through a full marathon with no issues. So thanks for watching the video, everybody. If you liked it, thumbs up. The more thumbs up, the better. Helps me grow my channel. If you don't like it, a thumbs down's okay, but I really do appreciate any and all comments, and I really do attempt to respond to everyone in a timely manner. Again, I don't think I've missed anyone to this point. Don't forget to subscribe to the Old Man Van Running channel. When you subscribe, please hit that notification bell, and you'll get notified when new videos are posted on the Old Man Van Running channel. Whether shoe reviews, gear reviews, or additional installments in my Boston qualifier attempt vlog. So as always, remember, lace up your shoes and let's get out on the roads.